New season, new luck. Hello everyone and welcome back to another video of mine. This time I'm back with Astrea's Broken Heart season 2 episode 1. Y'all, I'm still kind of traumatized from the season 1 finale and I'm honestly intrigued to know what this episode will be like. I was extremely upset in the finale with Mikael, and I have kind of been dodging Malik because I feel like he's behaving a little too shady for my liking, just like Mikael, and that's why I couldn't get on board with him. But I will try to give them the benefit of the doubt because it's not like I can actually be completely upset that Malik is still a little bit reserved because it's not like we had a lot of screen time with him. So, and the same goes for Mikael. Like, he has been there since season 1, episode 1, but he's mostly away. Like, the people we have most chance to talk to are David, CASSIEL, and Felonia. Like, the ones that we rarely see are RAPHAEL, Mikael, and Malik. So I'm gonna try to keep an open mind. I mean, we weren't capable to choose just yet. I'm steering towards David, but let's see. It's time to get to know each other a little better, you think? After RAPHAEL came in flying in with his angel wings. Y'all, this story is actually freaking me out. Episode 1, returning home. Can we consider that home? Simona could have sworn she felt her soul leave her body. Me every time I see Malbonte. Like, honestly. But since we're not talking about Malbonte here, every single time I see any of these bitch asses, because they're all fine as fuck, it rose above the inferno that unfolded beneath her feet and headed upward. But there was no release from the piercing pain. The path to paradise was agonizing. Something seemed to be holding her soul, gripping it with razor-sharp claws, dragging it down and tearing it apart. In my eyes, I would feel extreme rage towards RAPHAEL, and not towards him personally, but towards the person that, like, is not allowing us to find peace. Like, we suffered enough. They slit our wrists open. They literally slit up our entire arm, like cutting through our veins in order to have enough blood sacrifice. And then we're planning to iron us. So we literally felt every single agony that you can feel when someone is torturing the hell out of you. And now you even refuse to actually let me go slowly. Let me just drown in darkness, please. I can't stand this pain anymore. But still, her soul desperately pushed forward, cutting through the icy, bone-chilling wind. Look at us. However, in this seemingly final battle, Simona was not alone. Y'all, I'm still fucking upset. God damn. Someone's quite anxious whisper kept drifting consciousness on the surface. It would not let her soul give up and fall, and Simona held on to it with all her might. She tried to ignore the smell of blood and burning that enveloped her body, and she thought instead of how paradise smelled of freshness and meadow of flowers. Could not be me. Astrea's detective agency. I would be bitching at all of them. RAPHAEL flew through the window into the bedroom. He gently laid the limp body on the bed and rushed into the hallway. I'm sorry, we're still bleeding. Like, there is no more blood left in our body. What did he think? Oh, my fucking God. Did he think that flying us back here would actually save us? Our wrists are still slashed open. We are still losing blood. And he didn't even have, like, refreshments or something, like, to help us, I don't know, at least help us remain fresh in the head or something to not make us lose consciousness. His cry for help was directed only at Mikael, straight Okay, I need to stop myself from bitching at Mikael. He had a very bad way to handle things, but I feel like I can turn into him as well. When I see a danger coming a mile away and the person in front of me is just like not being reasonable at all, and I can just see the danger appearing from like a mile away, and the person in front of me still is not seeing reasoning, then sooner or later I tend either to scream or I get extremely cold and detached from my emotions. And that can hurt the person in front of me. And it could be possible that Mikael is like that too. That instead of actually trying to rely on his empathy in order to reason with us and trying to make us understand, he decided to rely on his experience, where he was like, whether you are gonna understand or not, I'm not gonna allow you nor the guy to actually drown in darkness and whatever, like you'll get the drill. And even if you may hate me because of the way I'm handling things, I'm doing this at the end of the day in order to protect you and keep you safe. So from that point of view, I could understand. But the call unfamiliar to the walls of Astrea was unanswered by all the inhabitants of the They crowded around the evaluator's bed and allowed themselves to be confused for a moment. We are dead. At this point, we're dead, y'all. They are leaving themselves some time. It's not like we have been slashed open, our entire body drenched in our own blood. We're still drying out. Y'all, I'm sorry. Sometimes I'm just asking myself if they are just stupid or just slow. Do something to stop the fucking bleeding. No, honestly, gold to see all of them just shook. Mikael was the first to pull himself together. Of course, he feels the need, he has to. He's kind of like, again, he gives off the vibes of the dad that needs to like hold it all together. All his questions were lost in his primary task, saving her. Aww. Everything else ceased to matter. Aww. Mikael sat on the edge of the bed just as he had the first time after silent growth. He took her bloody hand in his and closed his eyes. Huh? As soon as Mikael finally touched her hand, the others immediately snapped out of their stupor. Cassiel's voice was the first to break through the tense atmosphere. What happened? Cassiel was choked with pity for the dying Simona. My men. They are all my men. Like, I claim dibs on all of their asses. Fight me. I know you will in the comment section. He could barely find the words. How did this happen? Oh, Cassiel. Still reeling from the experience, RAPHAEL responded in a voice that trembled with anger. God damn. Why didn't we see the wings? They wanted to sacrifice her to the beast. Her friend Ruth turned out to be connected to the cult. David stared blankly at Simona. He fought his inner demons. He would curse us if he could, because he had questions letting us go. They kept laughing at him. They told him that he would soon lose his life's newfound joy. Oh, God. Now that's just cruel. Did they actually say that, or is that like his inner voice saying that he will lose it? He would lose it because he dared to reject his nature and let fate take over. Huh? Because he decided that he was capable of achieving what he wanted on his own, because he ignored everything that was meant for him. David stood motionless next to the bed. He tried to find hope in Mikael's frozen face, but the boss only tightened his grip on Simona's hand. The demons won, and David's eyes filled with blood. Driven by the voices, he rushed to the door. Where is she? Oh my goodness, so they all were forced to remain outside? David pinned RAPHAEL against the wall and stared intently into his eyes. Oh my goodness gracious. Is this what matters now? The hum of anxious conversation was interrupted by a heavy and unusually nervous voice. Everybody out. Mikael is not taking shit anymore. Out of habit, no one questioned the boss's orders, honestly. Again, he's a dom. Spank me, daddy. Like, he has those moments I could just smack the shit out of him and it actually makes me want to give up on him. And then there are times where I just think he's so fucking hot. I don't know what to do anymore. They're all tempting me. They were never given out of mere whim or annoyance. All three employees looked at Simona with eyes full of emotion. Then they disappeared behind the door. Once alone with the dying woman, Mikael allowed himself a sigh, his chest heaved with the effort. His next sentence held a weight that he wanted to share with everyone but didn't dare to. I can't hear her. Because my soul left my body. It elevated. If any of his colleagues could see Mikael now, they would be able to easily read all his thoughts. They were reflected so clearly in his face. Aww. The mask of composure had fallen, bearing his soul. Is he worth it? Yes. Very much worth it. Tell me what you're hiding behind that mask of indifference, babe. When Simona's blood was filled with poison from the waters of Silent Grove, healing her was easy. Mikael had found a faint pulse, then held her thin wrist for no more than a minute, and just like that, her exhausted heart beat more steadily. Mikael had not only cleansed her blood, but also taken away the evaluator's chronic headaches. Wow. So he's a healer. It was almost too easy. That day, Mikael was much more worried about the conversation that awaited them afterward. What was he supposed to say to make Simona believe in her sudden recovery? Oh my god, no! Sta piangendo. Oh. Yeah, I even had to answer in Italian. Oh no. God damn. Like, that took me so off guard. I couldn't even speak in English no more. He's crying. God damn. Nah. 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 Nah, I feel like it's Mikael for me. I always thought it was like David, because Mikael kept on giving me like bitch ass attitude, and sooner or later I want to see that I actually have an impact on your heart. But actually seeing this, nah. I feel like Mikael is it for me. Like, he's very calm, detached, feels the need to always hide his emotions, but he's like the diamond in the rough. He has a very soft core, and because of the fact he's seen so much, he prefers like to cover his pure heart with like not thinking too much about morals or getting too much co-involved with his emotions / showing too much empathy, because that would actually prevent him from doing what needs to be done in order to save everyone else in the long run. And sometimes doing that, or more like saving yourself and the people you care about, means having to be fine with how do I say it? Being fine with a collateral damage. And that's like something that our character, for example, could never do, because we're too co-involved with our emotions, and he feels the need to actually detach himself from his emotions. Doesn't mean that he doesn't feel them. He just thinks it's easier that way. And on the other side, every single time he gets in touch with his emotions, he always feels pain. So in order not to feel that much pain and suffering, he prefers to actually detach himself from his emotions and not actually place that much value onto them. Because if he actually gets too deep into it, then he will have to accept that, sorry if I have to say it like this, he doesn't like who he turned into. Like actually having to accept that life broke you to that extent that you are actually silent now, that you can't think about your past without gritting your teeth or without there being pain reflected in your eyes is dark, and it's difficult, and it's sad. At the end of the day, it is sad, because the more pain you had to take in, the more negativity you give out to the world. And it will be out of your control. That's sadly what happens when you are extremely pure-hearted. The more pure-hearted you are, the more negativity you can actually absorb, because your heart is completely filled with positivity. And the more positive your soul, the more negativity you can absorb, and the more negativity you will automatically feel the need to give out to the world, because that's the only thing that you got from the world, negativity. And you feel the need to give out negativity because you were never capable to get something else from life. And it's sad to actually sit down and actually have to think about the fact that life only brought you pain and torment. And he feels the need in order to protect everyone else and their emotions. He's like allowing them to experience them all. And he feels the need that he needs to actually shove his own emotions away into the back of his mind where no one can reach them. But there will be a few people in his life that will be capable to break down his defenses. And it seems like we're one of those people. This time the thought of what he would say when she woke up didn't even cross his mind. It simply didn't matter. The thought that if we would wake up is the question. Mikael tried to find a pulse to grab hold of the life that was rapidly leaving her body, but he couldn't. Her heart wasn't beating. We were dead. And his was about to stop from grief. No! My child. Simona. I feel so bad for Mikael. Mikael let go of her hand and leaned forward. We're dead. He rested his palm on her delicate neck. How he'd wanted to touch her that evening at the hotel. What hotel? Am I missing something? When were we at a hotel with him? How he'd wanted to run his fingertips over her soft skin. How he wished he could touch her, but not now. Not when there was no life beneath his fingers. Please, hear my voice. I can't look into his eyes, seeing how red they are from grief, y'all. It's especially much more difficult. I feel like I'm just such a soft bitch, y'all, and I feel the need to actually highlight the more negativity someone gives out, the more they deserve love. Because the reason that they give out so much love, so much negativity is because of the lack of positivity that they had in their lives. And sometimes we just want someone to actually give us positivity so that we can hang on to the hope that there will be other people out there to give us positivity. We just want someone to actually make us see that it's worth fighting for. Life is worth fighting for. People are still worth fighting for. And that we're not useless, or the people that actually sucked us dry, they drained us of our energy, that they weren't right, that we are worth it, that we still matter. And the people that refuse to actually open up to their own emotions, and they feel the need to numb themselves in order not to feel the impact of negativity anymore, because they are already filled to the brim with it. When they want to actually show emotion and they feel the need to cry, the only thing that you can actually see is like pain reflected in their eyes. but you will never ever see a tear fall down their eyes, because it's kind of like then pride stopping them. They won't be capable to cry no more. And I actually feel bad for Mikael, because no one should actually numb themselves down to the point where they feel that they should never ever reconnect with their humanity anymore. For a moment, he thought he could feel her soul stir. Mikael grasped at the movement and focused on his power. He let it grow. It passed through her skin and filled her lifeless body. Oh my... Y'all, I'm crying. It's the beginning of the episode, bitches. Mikael. Y'all. Not this man actually grabbing my heart after I thought I gave up on him completely. Astrea knows. That bitch knows me so well. I folded like a piece of paper. I did the exact same BS with Malbonte. She knows. She just knows. Don't leave. Usually, a single touch was enough for Mikael to heal others, but souls caught between life and death made their own choices without asking what he wanted. Mikael brushed a bloody strand of hair from her face and ran his hand over the ugly cut. He tried to stifle his growing hatred for the person who had done it. That feeling doesn't belong here. Not now. Ooh. But the emotions that usually obeyed him so easily were taking over now. He can't control his emotions anymore. And that's what happens when you actually let someone in. The second you let someone in, you can't control your emotions when it comes to that person, because it will be out of your control. That's why it's kind of crazy, actually. It's very rare when you numb yourself. It's very difficult for people to actually get close to you, because it's kind of like you're rarely showing emotion, like happiness, sorrow. That's like, people don't see that. You mostly show like this monotonous voice. I feel like I'm actually saying it right now. Like I'm speaking in that voice right now. You never ever know what to expect from that person, because their words could be betrayed by their emotion. With people that numb themselves, you never know. You just have to expect or accept that what they say is actually what they mean, because no emotion can be seen in their words, in their voice. So you can only guess. And when you let someone in, when you have numbed yourself, then that's because they kind of are capable to stir your soul. They are capable to reach the parts of you that you thought you had to leave behind. And in other words, I can also say it like this: they remind you, of your former self, before you decided to numb yourself because you couldn't deal with all this negativity in your life. And actually seeing that someone that probably has dealt with just as much BS as you have during the course of your life, and they were capable to hang on to the light side of life instead of the dark side of life, actually heals you subconsciously, and you find back to who you are. That's when you slowly let down your defenses, and that's when you can't avoid for pain to hit you and for emotions to be all over the place, because you spent the entire time controlling them. And now, because you let your barriers down because of that person that you let in, you can't control any of your emotions anymore. Now they're controlling you. I shouldn't be thinking about this now. But he was. He couldn't help but imagine himself tearing apart those who dared to harm her. And these thoughts interfered with his ability to maintain the necessary composure, so he concentrated on the feelings he had for her. the barely budding ones that had been so easy to dismiss even earlier that day, a quivering flame that suddenly burned bright with the fear of losing her forever.
You were sent to us for a reason, Simona. I don't believe that you're just another cruel test created by him.
What? Are you talking about the beast? Is the beast actually like a definition of the devil in this game? Mikael gritted his teeth. He was unaccustomed to condemning his father's decision. At this point, I believe it's the devil in this story, yes. But he did not retract his words.
You were meant to be our salvation.
Oh, I'm soft for him.
And you were meant to be yours.
Oh, stop. Don't make me cry. It's the beginning of the episode. Mikael stroked her hair and whispered as if in prayer.
Please give me a chance to make things right.
Oh, stop. You didn't do anything wrong. That was my bitch ass. I felt the need to leave. That's not his fault. No, Mikael breaking my heart. Nah, he's my bitch. I claimed. I feel like I claimed.
Stay.
The cut on her face was the first to respond to his call. It slowly began to heal. Then Mikael felt the first beat of her heart. He couldn't resist gently wrapping his arms around her and pulling her close, ignoring the blood. No, Mikael. Oh, he embraced her and continued to stroke her hair. He barely breathed himself. He just listened to her soft breathing, and only after several long minutes of bliss did she stir in his arms. Only then he could break the embrace. There were no more wounds on her body, but he knew for certain that they remained on her soul. Of course, after what happened with those bitch asses.
I'm sorry, Simona, but healing souls is beyond my power.
Healing soul? I don't understand. I mean, it's not like we actually... I'm not sure how to understand that healing souls is out of his power. Like, it's not like our soul actually had some damage. Or am I reading it wrong? Mikael gently laid her back down on the bed and touched her hand again. He found her pulse and paused. Mikael listened to the beating of her heart as if under a spell. He felt his own finally calming. Yeah, because the more powerful our heartbeat becomes, that means the more stable our condition becomes. Only the growing noise in the hallway made him let go of her and stand up. The fear of losing you made Mikael think about many things. Goddamn, that little bitch. Raphael entered the room. He silently approached the bed and looked at Mikael.
We need to get her changed. She mustn't wake up in this. I'll ask Valonia to come.
As if sensing the presence of another, Simona's eyelids trembled and her fingers clenched a blanket. Her face contorted in fear and she began to trash on the bed. Raphael wasn't sure how to react. He tried to look to Mikael for answers.
Didn't you help her? The nature of this attack is emotional. What did she say? She saw me.
Mikael made no effort to hide his anger. Well, I mean, was he a demon? Did he have demon wings? What was he? He turned away and fell silent. He's like, bitch, leave before I lose the last remaining strength I have. Raphael himself knew how bad this was. She was clearly not prepared for this. It wasn't supposed to happen so soon.
Maybe she'll forget.
Not if I have something to say about this baby.
Only if you want to erase some memory.
Simona was plagued by nightmares. Recent events refused to leave her mind. They became distorted, more vivid, more cruel. Honestly, I wouldn't be traumatized by this man in wings. I would be traumatized by actually having my slits wrist open and seeing the iron coming closer to me. The wounds that had disappeared from her body refused to let her forget about them. They made themselves known with phantom pains, and she clenched her teeth. Choking with fear, Simona screamed and opened her eyes. Don't touch me!
Simona.
Clearly not fully aware of where she was, she pressed her back against the headboard. She pulled her legs up as if afraid that imaginary monsters would grab her ankles and drag her back to the ritual fire. Yeah, this is PTSD. She's gonna need some time to actually process it all. Her eyes were filled with an animal fear that prevented her from thinking clearly.
Simona, you're home. You're safe.
The image of the sweet man was overshadowed by something she couldn't explain. The wings, the blinding light, his cruelty. Simona interpreted his step toward her as a direct threat. She held out her trembling hands in defense. What do they want from me? You know what? You know what? I'm done begging. I'm just gonna scream my lungs out. Don't come near me, either of you. The whole world seemed foreign and incomprehensible to her. Honestly, I feel bad there for Mikael after reading his thoughts and seeing how he truly feels about us. I feel like such a bitch. The men seemed like the monsters that had dragged her into it. With every breath she took, her hysteria grew. It threatened to explode and erupted into nervous breakdown. Oh my goodness. Her gaze fell on torn, bloodied sleeves, reminding her that the nightmare was real, but there were no more wounds on her skin. This is some kind of madness. I feel so bad for her, honestly. I'm still traumatized, like me! And I wasn't even there, but actually reading it, actually having to immerse myself in this situation, nah, I'm traumatized. Raphael took another step, then froze. The terror on her face nailed him to the spot. He realized that the woman he had just kissed was now afraid to even look at him. Oh my god, I remember. I was messy. I did that. I was messy. Poor him. No. Oh god. That's worse. If you actually kiss Raphael and then all of a sudden he's you're stay away from me, bitches. The thought cut painfully through his heart. Yeah, my poor man.
What does she see in me now?
This has nothing to do with you, Raphael. Baby, this is not you.
When I saved you, I'm not trying to hurt you.
Simona ran her fingers through her hair and curled up in a ball. When she looked at Raphael, she could clearly see the glow, see the wings. They disappeared and reappeared. Or perhaps the ordeal had seared itself so deeply into her memory that reality had permanently fused with fantasy. I feel so bad for her. Her brain refused to process the information. Her mind was taut as a string. It seemed that at any moment it would snap and insanity would flood her body. Go away. Get away from me.
She's not ready for this, Raphael.
The words sounded like an order. Raphael pressed his lips together and moved towards Simona. Ooh-hoo. He said, fuck you, Mikael. We had a moment. Honestly, I was waiting for Raphael to finally show that he's a bitch-ass too. Give it to me. Ignoring her screams and pleas, he took her by the hand. He winced as if the touch caused him physical pain.
If I get this, Simona, you'll feel better.
Not him manipulating us. Please don't touch me. Please don't. Ay, ay, ay. Ay, ay, ay. Ladies and gentlemen, again, this has nothing to do with him. And I'm gonna be capable to show you, because of this word right here, why. She still has the feeling, again, of course, like PTSD. But to actually explain the situation, she still has the feeling that she is in that sanctuary with those bitches that tried to sacrifice her. And when those bitches actually touched her, they used knives in order to slash her wrists open, and that meant more pain for her to actually have to go through. So now, when someone touches her, her mind immediately brings her back to when she was in that sanctuary. And since it is that new, and she's still in some state of shock, I have the feeling that she still believes that she's in that sanctuary. She doesn't realize that she is now at Astrea and not in that little sanctuary anymore. I have the feeling that she still sees herself in that sanctuary with more and the other people actually holding her and someone like moving closer to her, or more like Raphael in this particular circumstance, moving closer to her with the iron. And that's why we keep on saying, please don't touch me. Please go away. Because we don't want to feel pain anymore. Like we're that much in shock. And honestly, I understand her. Would that be me? I'm not sure. I never had PTSD. For me, it always turned into like depression or extreme panic / anxiety attacks. I never had PTSD. But I know what PTSD looks like, and this is PTSD. And this has nothing to do with Raphael right now or Mikael. This has more to do with the fact that we're traumatized by what we have seen. And since the people that tortured us were into Mikael and Raphael, into being in front of us, we actually see the people that wanted us harm. We're not actually capable to put 2 and 2 together. We can't actually wrap our head around the fact that we were actually slashed open and someone wanted to sacrifice us to the beast. This has nothing to do with Mikael and Raphael. Simona whimpered softly and tried to pull away, but Raphael was much stronger. Raphael closed his eyes and found himself in her memories. He began to sift through the blurry images of her past, trying to ignore the feelings that were not meant for him. But he still stumbled when he felt her crushing loneliness. It had followed her from her parents' home to Astrea's doorstep, and here unexpectedly for her it began to dissolve into hope. Unable to resist, Raphael peeked into the sitting room. He felt the tenderness with which she secretly watched him. Yeah, we did. He felt all the words she kept inside, the ones she didn't dare say out loud. Her tender thoughts made his heart ache. Oh, yeah, we do care about him, and I did pick every single romantic option there was for him. Oh, Raphael. His conscience pushed him from the place he had so treacherously invaded. Pressing his lips together, Raphael ran through her memory a little faster. Finally, he reached a church that had filled her with unspeakable horror. He saw himself through her eyes. He saw the monster that hovered beneath the high arches and scorched mere mortals with white light. He tried to erase the memory as gentle as possible. Oy. My heart is aching for Raphael. He do not deserve this. But if you ask me, he shouldn't have erased his memory. He should have erased what happened in that church. The struggle lasted no more than a few seconds. Then when I fell silent, closed her eyes and fell asleep.
Hope we're doing the right thing.
Raphael clenched his fists. He closed his eyes as if to erase what he had seen from his own memory. He wanted to rip the skin off the hands that dared to hurt her. He was sickened by what he had to do. He was sickened by himself. But most of all, he was tormented by the new feelings that Simona now had for him.
Her mind would have broken. She needs time.
Yeah! Time to heal from that! You could have erased those bitches' act, not him.
We don't have it.
Raphael said nothing. He left the room. Not the tears!
Now we all have to act differently.
Wow. Mikael processed the unpleasant scene. He too did not recover right away. After a few minutes, he called Felonia and asked her to come over. The evaluator had been through so much stress, she needed to be prepared for her awakening. He realized that there was nothing more for him to do here, but he stayed anyway. He stood frozen next to Simona, hesitant to approach. Another strand of hair fell across her peaceful face. This time, Mikael didn't let himself brush it away. After the horror with which Simona had looked at him, touching her seemed like a crime.
I'm so sorry, Simona. I'm so sorry.
Stop. Y'all, at this point, Raphael literally, no, not Raphael, Mikael literally pushed his hand through my chest, ripped my heart out, threw it on the ground, and then jumped onto it. Until there was nothing left of it. My heart is in shatters. Please stop being emotional. Please. I can't stand it anymore. My heart is breaking. My heart broke. Mikael stood there for a little while longer, then stepped out into the hallway. He bumped into a bloody David who was on his way to her. What did he do now? David, stop him. It was too difficult to ignore his appearance.
Where have you been?
Mikael had to block the agitated young man's path to stop him. David was breathing heavily, as if he'd just gone for a run. He froze and didn't respond immediately. Oh my god, David. He said, I'm killing them all. He went to that damn village and he killed them all. Honestly, respect for my bitch. Oh god. Y'all, it's a tight race. It's really a tight race. I feel like my heart is still a little softer for Mikael. But honestly, David.
In that damn village.
The blood suggested that David had made a little attempt to learn what had happened from the villagers. The boy's eyes twitched. He barely restrained himself from grabbing David by the collar. Nah, I'm proud of him. He desperately wanted to knock some sense back into his employee.
And what did you do? Did you show everyone what you're capable of?
He got rid of them all. He said no mercy. His eyes are red!
Oh, you have no idea what I'm capable of.
He said no mercy. The anger inside David spread through his body like molten lava. He wanted to let it out, to incinerate everything around him, so that every living creature would share his pain. Oh my god. David. Hers and his. Yeah, hers because of the physical and mental torment that she had to go through. And his mental pain by having to see her like that.
You'll end up in a cage like your father if you let your emotions overpower your sons of reason. There's always another way to get what you want, David. You don't have to act impulsively every time something goes wrong. That would be me, though. Like rumbling thunder, David's voice grew stronger. It changed from a hoarse whisper to an angry shout. Something goes wrong. Something went wrong when I decided to start a new life here, Mikael. Ooh-hoo! And those vile creatures dared to touch you.
Oh my god, what is going on? I did not expect this side of David. Oh my god. Y'all, he actually completely in love with me. Completely. I'm sorry, and people are telling me that he's a wimp, that he's a simp?
Her!
The muscles in David's face twitched and his eyes filled with red.
They spilled her blood.
Oh my god.
Everyone connected to the beast will pay me 100-fold for every drop of her blood that they shed.
Oh my god. David, please, calm down. This time, Mikael had to close his eyes and take a deep breath to control his emotions. He knows, because he feels the exact same way. He just feels the need to actually control his emotions right now. The impulsive young man's behavior had crossed the line. Even for him, they revealed to Mikael the true reason behind the horrible act. He loves her. David had been driven to the village by feelings that were anything but friendly. The thought brought up Mikael's own buried emotion. Yeah. He went to the village to murder them all because he couldn't forgive them for hurting the woman he loved. And that's an emotion or a reasoning that Mikael can understand because he felt the exact same urge to do the same. For some reason, he really wanted to make David shut up. Damn! A cold rage flashed through him, blinding him just for a moment before it immediately subsided. But that moment was enough to make him understand the truth. Simona had the power to make more than just a hot-tempered David lose control. Yeah, that was my mistake, though. Mikael had to make an effort to make his voice sound normal. Oh, he upset.
People will find out about this. I won't be able to hide what you've done. Let everyone find out, Mikael.
Oh my god, David.
Let every creature on this earth know what will happen if it touches someone who cannot be touched.
David. Y'all, the second he saw that we were hurt, he went zooming. I don't know if that happened to anyone else. But, like, for those that don't actually play romantic options from David, but please tell me, my god,
He shouldn't be so attached to her.
because you say that you claim dibs.
None of us should be. You're not the only one who cares about her, but you're the only one who allows himself to be so reckless.
Honestly, that would be me, though. That would be me. I'm like that. Like, you don't touch someone I care about. I get extremely defensive about that. Like, in my eyes, it's not that difficult to expect that the people I care about to be safe and sound. If someone touches them, they die. Like, not literally, I'm not killing anyone, but like, they symbolically die. Like, you're not the only one that can hurt someone. David couldn't be calmed down. The young man seemed to have lost all control. He did. And honestly, I think it's so fucking hot to see this. Goddamn. Ugh.
You know who I am. Of course. I hope you also remember who she is, and the chasm that exists between us.
David didn't even want to think about it. He silently disappeared behind her bedroom door. Ooh. The fear of losing you is driving David out of his mind. Honestly, that was so fucking hot. He felt the need to defend our honor. He went back to the village and killed them all. It feels like I'm such a psychopath for actually feeling attracted to the fact that he actually was willing to murder people for us, take lives, in order to offend me. But on the other side, they were willing to do the exact same thing. And on the other side, this is a game. In real life, I would actually be turned off by the fact that they would actually be willing to kill for me. Defending me, yes. Making a statement, yes. And that can also be done with fists, as in smacking the shit out of him, but never ever kill. Not behind that. Mikael hoped that Felonia would arrive before Simona woke up and threw a fit at David. This time, he went downstairs. David is still in the bedroom with us. After everything his subordinates had done, it was only a matter of time before the higher-ups came down to Astrea. Mikael sat down by the station. He let his shoulders slump. Oh, we are in his body now. Oh my god, it's raining! And oh my god, he's fine!
I'm sorry that I haven't come to see you in a while.
The weight of his decisions pressed down on him, making it hard to focus. He needed to come up with a justification for RAPHAEL's actions, but more than anything, he just wanted to sit there and not have to think.
Sometimes it feels like everything is against us and the end is predetermined. And all of our struggles are just a farce, and we're all only created to make it more interesting to watch.
The garden refused to listen to his blasphemous words. The dense canopies above his head rustled indignantly as a wind arose. A distant rumble of thunder promised rain for the green of the garden. Solitude brought no relief, nor did it bring a solution to the brewing problem. Astrea remained silent, not wanting to be involved, and it was hardly something she could be blamed for.
We didn't do anything foolish.
Mikael rose from the bench and walked toward the house. He had a long night ahead of him, but before he could lose himself in his thoughts, he had to wait for Felonia. He needed to tell her that there had been a slight change in plans. Ooh, Simona woke up in a river in the middle of the dead forest. She stood knee-deep in the murky water. She trembled and gulped the icy air with numb lips. What the hell? She tried to reach the shore, but none of her movements brought her any closer. Her feet were stuck in the soft mud, and every step was difficult. What have they done to you, poor little mouse? They've so shamelessly rearranged things in your head. Simona tried to find the source of the voice. It sounded very close, like it was coming from somewhere inside her. Did you trust them so much that you opened the door to yourself? Who's there? It's time to get out, Simona. She couldn't take another step. The soft ground pulled her in deeper. The water rose above her knees. I can't. Maybe you don't want to. Have you been so attached to Astrea? To Astrea? All that mattered to Simona at the moment was the river and the rising water. Let me show you that your face is, shall I? Simona didn't understand what the agency had to do with her immediate problems. She became more and more nervous. Is this really the right time for this? Yes. It's always the right time for this. Oh, marvelous. Which colleague would you like to hear about? About Mikael? Mikael, honest and fair. Do you know what his right and wrong decisions are measured by? Bodies. Damn! She says he's a martyr. No one is cold-blooded in their calculations as Mikael. To him, lives are just numbers in a report. What did I say when I actually analyzed him before? He's not like that. Really? Or maybe you just yearn to sit on the throne with him in the finale. Does the pile of corpses beneath your feet not bother you? Sweet little mouse, are you that eager to become something greater in this world? To hell with the fact that the stairs to the top will be built from bones, right? What nonsense. David! There are more voices in his head than all of your patients combined. 72 voices to be precise. What? 72? Inherited from his father, quite a legacy, isn't it? 72 voices in his head. He's off sound mid. You like complicated guys, don't you? That voice did not have to call me out like that. Y'all, please, tell me Malbonte is not complicated, please. I do. Amen. Amrit. David. Mikael. Malik. They are literally red flags, all of them. You won't get bothered with him, I have no doubt, though you might have to sleep with a dagger under your pillow. Damn, you never know whose eyes he'll be looking at you with in the morning, right? What is this voice trying to achieve? Raphael. Raphael. He's mine, Simona. Hands off. The fucking hell? He mine? He has my gift hidden within him, a gift his father is so eager to pass on. He tore open his chest, placed the message inside, and hastily stitched it back up. No wonder Raphael's heart is always bleeding, isn't it? His father could have found other options, but he chose this one. A truly exemplary form of cruelty. It's worthy of admiration. Raphael has his own will. No. Whatever you say, but his heart is occupied, little one. Of course he can brighten his last moments of life, but be careful that you don't lose your own heart in the end. Oh, and mind your eyes when you look at him. The fucking hell? What is this voice getting at? Raphael is also mine. The mocking phrase seemed to remind her of something, but the thought quickly slipped away. CASSIEL? CASSIEL, it would be glorious to have that knight on my side. It would be great to make him my lapdog, to have him serve as me as he serves Mikael, without much enthusiasm. Who to the one he wants to save with all his heart? Perhaps it's because he was taught to kill and nothing else. Anyway, enough talk. They must be waiting for you. Waiting? Where? Isn't this a dream?
Of course it's a dream, Simona. What else could it be? Those men are playing unfairly. That's why I'm here. And that's why I want you to see how much blood is on their hands.
The river bubbled slowly.
Look, Simona, look.
It's red now.
Oh, goodness gracious.
That's playing dirty. The murky water turned blood red. Her nose was struck by a metallic smell mixed with the stench of decay. Huh? The river flooded, overflown with engulfed. The mud underfoot became flashing, clinging fingers. They dragged Simona under, clutching at her clothes.
Oh, goodness gracious.
Yeah, that's supposed to signalize like the bodies that they all have on their conscience. On the surface of the river, Simona saw faces distorted with horror. Some of them seemed familiar. They tore open their own mouths in desperate screams, reaching for her, trying to escape the current. But the rushing current held them all back, preventing them from leaving their final abode.
Oh, God.
Simona tried to break free from the shore with the last ounce of her strength. She almost fell, but failed to move an inch.
No, stay where you are, Simona. Look who you all allowed to fool you. Look and listen. I want everything they have done to finally catch up with them. No one believes in them anymore because they've lost faith themselves. Let the blood spill from the riverbanks and flood the sky. Let them all drown in it, Simona. They've turned our world into a dying creature. Its belly has been ripped open and it writhes in pain. All of its entrails have spilled out onto the ground and have long since rotted. It's time to finally show mercy and put an end to this creature. And make way for a new world. For a new world.
The sky above her howled and burning stars began to fall to the ground. And as horror watched in horror, the bloody water closed over her head. Oh my goodness. Her awakening was too sudden and too painful. Simona gasped and coughed. For the first minute, she fought off invisible hands and tangled herself in the blanket. And then she froze, paralyzed with fear. It was a dream, just a dream. There was a metallic taste in her mouth. A throbbing headache swelled in her skull. Images had plagued her mind in nightmares all night long. They still flickered before her eyes. She dreamed of the beast and its followers. Alive and dead, blind and seeing, they all tried to drag her to the riverbed. And she also dreamed of her colleagues, RAPHAEL, cruel and ruthless, burning everyone in his path. David with wild, fiery eyes and dozens of creatures behind him. CASSIEL in plaid armor and knee-deep in blood, holding giant fanged dogs on a chain. And Mikael seated proudly atop a mountain of corpses. Right? How did I end up home? What happened? Simona felt as if she had been gutted, leaving a huge bleeding wound inside of her. The last thing she remembered was Ruth's faint smile and their quiet walk to her village. And then a looming void. Black and bottomless, some horrible things had happened to them and were now buried in that pit. She knew that for sure. Something happened, something terrible.
And my memory is protecting me. Just like what happened with that poor guy. Because Ethan actually was fine with murdering. Just like it protected Oscar from what he saw in the basement, yes? When you experience a huge amount of trauma, your brain automatically puts that traumatic moment at the back of your mind until it feels that you are ready to actually deal with what has happened. And until then, you actually feel the anxiety, you feel the panic, but you don't know where all this anxiety and panic is coming from because your brain is protecting you from it. So as of that moment, you actually try to deal with how do I say it? You try to deal with the consequences, but not with the source of your problems. Because this is like just a temporary thing. The second that you actually slowly healed and you are mentally a little more stable, your mind automatically will make those traumatic experiences come back to the surface. And then you will have to deal with the root again.
And that's when you will automatically have to go through those consequences again. Because now you actually know why you felt so much anxiety. But when you have already healed a little bit from those complicated emotions that you carry within, it will be a little easier for you to actually deal with that negativity that you feel. What could have shaken me so much? Raphael is to blame for this, sweetheart. Like, he actually manipulated you. In my eyes, he should have compelled those memories away from the monastery, just saying. Some kind of veil seemed to have fallen from her overnight. It had once shielded her from unnecessary questions. Now she was very afraid. All her thoughts were consumed by one single desire, to hide. Simona was trembling all over. She stared blankly at the wall and tried to remember something. Anything. What scared me so much? But when the door handle slowly turned, she realized that she was afraid of the inhabitants of this house. Huh? Simona. Simona exhaled nervously and raggedly, barely holding back tears. Val, it's you. Felonia quietly closed the door behind her. She looked worriedly at the evaluator. How are you? I feel like I'm losing my mind in this house. I was with Ruth, and then I woke up in this bedroom. I had horrible dreams. It was like I died. It was like everyone in that village died. They did. Like, David actually ensured that, and it was so hard. And I also dreamed about my colleagues. Your colleagues? Felonia approached cautiously and sat down on the edge of the bed. They were like monsters. I don't know how to describe them. Cass was in armor. David had some shadows behind him. They were corpses. Fire. Wait, hold on. Simona suddenly jolted upright. She seized the opportunity to get to the bottom of everything. Val, please bring me my bag. I need to call Ruth. No, you don't need to do shit. Like, she's a bitch. Felonia reluctantly complied, but she couldn't find the bag or the phone. The situation was somehow painfully familiar to Simona. It further agitated her already afraid nerves. The solution appeared of its own accord. It happened so easily, as if it had been waiting to come out all along. Val, I want to get out of here. Simona feared that Felonia would try to dissuade her or refuse her request outright. She was afraid that if she pulled the curtains, she would find bars on the windows. Damn. This actually is even more traumatic than I anticipated, y'all. She actually... I need to actually connect this with what happened at the monastery, or else you won't understand where my mind is going. When she was at the monastery, they actually held her. They closed her in. They refrained her from her free will, and they closed her in on her personal space. Like, she had nowhere to go. Like, they actually kind of treated her like a prisoner. She was a sacrifice. So they actually made her really fear for her life. And they actually had no problem in making her feel that she had no way out, that she is someone else's property, that she is only there to be sacrificed, that no one would be there for her, that everyone around her only wants to harm her. So now, the PTSD in her mind is now actually forcing her to detain the fact that the people around her, the people closest to her, the people that she trusted, because that's what happened to Ruth. Ruth was her friend, and she trusted her to not betray her and to actually want her dead. And that's exactly what her friend did. And now it's kind of like bringing back and connecting her to the love that she has for the inhabitants of this house. So her being surrounded by the people that she learned to love now, she actually fears, because of the PTSD that she now has, because of the shock that she just experienced, that the people inside this house will want to do the exact same thing. So that's why she wants to leave. This has nothing to do with her not trusting them or anything. It's more like the PTSD taking over her mind and soul, and she can't trust anyone but herself right now. And she doesn't trust them right now because of the PTSD to keep her safe. She was afraid that if she pulled the curtains, she would find bars on the windows. She was afraid that when Fel went out the door, she would hear the sound of the key turning. What did I say? Circling her in, cutting off her free will and her freedom. But Felonia replied calmly and gently. Are you sure? Yes. All right then. I'll talk to Mikael. You get ready, all right? Simona couldn't believe her ears. She quickly jumped out of the bed. Are we gonna go to Malik? Her limbs responded with pain as if they had been held underwater by force all night. Felonia followed close behind, gently taking Simona's arm to support her. The officer paused a few inches from the evaluator's face and pursed her lips. Are you all right? Simona shook her head. She could barely hold back her tears. I feel bad for her. Again, he should have manipulated her memories away from what happened at the monastery, because that's like the biggest kind of betrayal and the biggest torment on her mind right now. No, she wasn't all right. And the worst part was that she didn't understand why. Yeah. Change your clothes, and I'll take you wherever you want to go. Honestly, I don't understand what they meant with that. She didn't understand why. Are you actually trying to tell me that the biggest trauma came from seeing Raphael with wings? Are you shitting me? Or is it more because she saw how powerful Raphael is, and that made her conclude that every single one in this household is capable to do the exact same amount of damage? So she don't know who she living with, so she was petrified of finding out that the people she has been living with could actually mean her doom. I have an apartment. It's on the other side of the city, though. That's all right. Change your clothes, Simona. Then let's go. Once alone, Simona hurried to the wardrobe. It feels like a lifetime has passed since I crossed the threshold of Astrea. Simona glanced at the door. She thought about who she was leaving behind on the walls of this house without a goodbye. All my feelings are mixed up in an incomprehensible mess. I'll talk to him later when fear stops suffocating me. She changed into the first thing she could find. Honestly, I don't know what to do. Y'all, they all suck. How is it possible that every single outfit in this episode now? Oh, God, I need to change. But let's see. What about the hair? Cute. Oh, that's a cute hair. Nah. I'm gonna go with blonde again. Am I gonna change the outfit? I should, but you know what? Let's just go with it. Let's just go with it because I'm too depressed for all this shit. Simona didn't dare to take the outfits David had given her. Her own belongings fit into her travel bag, which she hadn't managed to unpack completely. Always traveling light. After all he did, after getting her license back, now everyone is gonna assume that we just left because we got her license back from herself, from reality, and the thought of it made her sick. It seems like I've spent my whole life running from something, or I've been chased by something my whole life. Soon Felonia returned. She said that everything was settled, picked up the bag, and led Simona away from the house. I feel so bad for everyone at Astrea. Everyone. Because they truly care about her. I need to read a little bit more into this woman's emotions for me to completely determine why, or more like where her real inner struggles are coming from. Because as of right now, I don't understand the anxiety that she feels towards the guys. That she would feel anxiety because of what happened at the monastery and now actually being closed in a confined space would remind her about what Ruth tried to do, actually locking her in, taking the phone, etc., like the first betrayal that happened that night. But other than that, I don't get it. In the apartment, the first thing Simona did was buy a new phone, and as soon as Felonia left her, she tried to call Ruth. Are you fucking serious? So he deleted it all. He deleted it all. Ruth does not deserve us to call her. But her friend didn't answer her calls or texts. Now she dead. Do I wish her to be dead? No, but she deserves to suffer for what she tried to do to us. She could not remember Ruth's new address. The only mention of it was on her old phone. I don't like any of this. Girl, would you have been willing to visit her, bitch? After a day of anxious attempts, Simona called all of their few mutual friends. It turned out that Ruth had stopped keeping in touch with anyone but Simona after college. This news spurred Simona to act more decisively. She contacted the taxi service, then she asked to be connected with the driver who had filled the order placed with her phone number. The dispatcher was a friendly woman who promised to call her back. Once again, the apartment was filled with a thick, oppressive anticipation. I can try to restore her text messages. Simona spent hours trying to recover the lost data. She didn't even notice the day passing. My poor men. With the evening came the unusual total silence and an unusual calm. It seemed that the horrors that truly remained within the walls of Astrea, but along with them an important part of her remained there too. She thought about Mikael, David, CASSIEL, RAPHAEL, Falonia. Honestly, David, my fine-ass bitch. I'm thinking about Mikael. After getting the inside right now, I'm extremely worried about him. But honestly, it's such a extreme tight between Mikael and David, y'all. It really is. Like, I'm breaking, actually. Like, I thought that scene was so fucking hot where he actually said, okay, you know what? After everything that they did, he actually went out to look for the people that harmed us and he killed them all. Goddamn. That's the impulsiveness that I love. Impulsiveness actually shows how you truly care about someone. When you truly care about someone, you can't help yourself but act out of impulse. You can't stop yourself when you do. When you let someone in. And that's the exact same thing that Mikael is doing as well. Just that he feels the need to actually bury his own emotions. So the second that he feels something, he immediately feels to actually drown out that voice in his head that is telling him that he should be doing something, because he actually felt the exact same thing that David felt, only that he felt the need to actually not act on them, which, first off, I commend him for his restraint, but he felt the need to do exactly that. Like, he couldn't help himself but want to hurt the people that hurt us. And the narrator actually pointed that out. He behaved and felt the exact same emotions that David felt, so he couldn't actually blame him for his behavior. Her conscience reminded her of how abruptly she had quit her job without informing her boss. Yes, Phil talked to him, but what exactly did she tell him? Just that we wanted to leave, apparently. Oh god, honestly, I want to know what both of them feel. This is so mean. It felt like there was no turning back after that. Or maybe it wasn't just about the job. More and more, Simona remembered his calm eyes and smooth movements. Honestly, though, but being capable to actually remain calm at all times is also extremely hot, because that shows extreme restraint. First off, could not be me, but on the other side, it actually shows that you have gone through such an awful amount of shit during the course of your life that you feel the need to actually shut down your emotions is like the best option for you. The second that you then try to actually feel emotions, you keep on remembering what happened back in the day when you would allow your emotions to get the upper hand. And then you immediately shove those emotions back to where they came from without ever acting on them. And that makes me worry extremely much for Mikael, honestly. The feelings her boss stirred in her had dulled, but they had not disappeared. Dulled? Was it because I mostly picked David? Since when? I think I miss him. I would miss him. 1000%. Even nightmares won't stop you from thinking about Mikael. He'd be happy about that. Evening subtly turned to night. The chaotic day finally came to an end, along with a small but vivid part of her life. It feels like Astrea was just a dream. Strange, even airy at times, but so captivating. Several days later, we are still here. The following days flew by in a blur. Nah, bye. Reminds me when I'm on my vacation. Like, I don't know, you work for like, let's just say 7 months straight through the year. And then you have, 2 weeks of vacation. And they go back as if it would have been just 2 days. Bye. Each night brought fragments of memories in the bloody river. It was getting harder and harder to tell which were real and which were not. Raphael often appeared in her dreams. He'd hover like a ghost on the ceiling of her bedroom. Damn. She's actually having those vivid nightmares. Oh God, that's even worse. And that's also extremely rare. Because mostly when you actually have those vivid dreams, then you actually fall asleep, have those nightmares that feel too real to be just a dream, and then you actually wake up in cold sweat, and then you refuse yourself to fall back to sleep. But it's very rare that you actually see the fragments of your imagination being displayed in front of your eyes while you're awake. That's when you are actually partially living in the back of your head. You're not with your brain in the moment. And that's when you actually, without you actually realizing it, you are, sorry if I have to say it like this, but I feel like when I do the analysis, especially then, it's because I also want to help you all to like realize if you should ever feel something like this. Like, I just want to help y'all because I love you with everything that I have within me. And I just want you all to take care of yourselves. When you actually see that, then you actually are capable to mix up dream from reality. That's when your nightmares come to life because you are with your mind at the back of your mind where all the trauma that you are trying to like just scoop under the rug and to be forgotten, you're trying to stir on that rug in order like to get those nasty moments literally in front of your mind so that you can actually understand why you're feeling so shitty. And that's when you slowly are are mixing up reality from fiction. The fiction is like when you slowly see those awful things that happened to you in your past being displayed in front of you as some sort of mirage. Meanwhile, you are in the present, sitting at the back of your room, cowering in some corner, hanging onto your blanket, and you are not realizing that you're actually slowly starting to have tears form in your eyes and they're slowly falling down your face. That's so much detail that they're putting in here. God, more visitor dreams even more often. What did I say? He'd cut her and licked the blood from her wound. Oh. At times like this, Simona would wake in terror and struggle to get back to... I rest my case. During the day, she cherished her peace as much as possible. She secretly longed for any mention of Astrea, but as if by conspiracy, all its inhabitants had vanished. Babe, with all due respect, you left. And I'm not sure what Felonia said, but I'm pretty sure the way she said it must have meant that you are petrified of every single one of them. So if they truly care about you, they would be willing to like give you your space until you feel ready to talk to them again. Because if you truly feel ready and then you feel the need to want some answers, you will go to them by yourself. All mention of the beast and its cult vanished with them. They let me go so easily. She deep down was hoping that they would protest. Because why? This is like what she truly desires. When fear and trauma take over you, you act out of impulse. Everyone does. Whether you're a more logical person or not, you allow your emotions to dictate what you do. And then when the fear and the trauma slowly subside as you heal, the more you realize that you want to go back to how things were, because that's what truly made you happy. That's what you truly want. To avoid falling into depression, girl, you have been depressed ever since we started this story, and I've said it so many times. To avoid falling into depression, she focused on searching for Ruth. Still with that fucking Ruth. Y'all, let me ignore me. By the end of the third day, she had become obsessed. Just now, not knowing what else to do, she decided to file a missing person report. Nah, she's supposed to rot in that hotel room. Then when I was unable to recover her memories, the thought about what she would say it fell. What information can I give her if I'm not even sure that our meeting was real? But she couldn't see any other way out. Though before contacting Fel, she remembered another mutual acquaintance. Maybe I should call Malik. Yes, we're always happy to see Malik. And I feel like I owe it to those bitches out there. Like, girl, you know who you are. Hello? I was about to say, are you kidding me? Zumana rummaged through the depths of her bag to find Malik's business card. She dialed the number. She waited for the answering machine to beep. Malik, it's me. I'm sorry to call so late, but I really need to talk to you. Ruth is missing and I'm afraid of something terrible has happened to her. Could you please call me back as soon as you can? Simona hung up and pursed her lips. Poor her. Malik will receive your message and you will surely meet again. Ah, thank goodness. I said it at the beginning of this episode. I decided to give them all the benefit of the doubt. I felt like I was shitting too much on Mikael. Now actually seeing the beginning of this episode, more because I was feeling extremely helpless, and the way that they felt to actually hold someone captive was not for me, but actually seeing what he saw, like knowing what the Cole was capable of, he was just feeling the need to not actually have us dig too deep, to have us as the victims or possible victims actually be in the middle of this. And he tried to keep us out of it as much as he could, and he was willing like to take the torment from us and from Harry if that meant keeping us safe. And we were too impulsive, or more like I was too impulsive, and I actually was shitting on him when he actually just meant to protect me. So I feel like I owe him an apology, and I'm willing to give him the benefit of the doubt. And I'm kind of, or more like I have been, ignoring Malik, I feel like, because the options were that. So I'm gonna be willing like to see Malik if the chance arises. Maybe it's not that bad as I think. Maybe they're together somewhere. No, they're not, and I'm happy if he's not. The unexpected thought brought hope. Annoyance. Why the fuck would it bring hope? Like, I wouldn't wish Ruth on my worst enemy. Oh, we are annoyed. She couldn't stifle the strange feeling. She didn't want to think that Ruth and Malik might be busy with each other. I mean, she said it the way we all thought it. Like, just respect for her. She's like, she didn't want to think that they'd be doing all of this together. And surely they could find a minute to respond to me. Ooh. Simona brewed some coffee and sat on the edge of the windowsill. She must feel so lonely right now. I feel like that's the biggest reason why she is not having any of the silence. She looked at the grey, dreary landscape outside. A half-dead tree surrounded by concrete and metal reminded her of the garden in Astrea. She really is obsessed with them now, y'all. She closed her eyes and tried to picture herself in her old bedroom. She tried to feel a fresh breeze, but instead she felt her own loneliness with renewed force. No matter how hard Simona tried, she couldn't get the agency out of her head. Why? Do I want to figure out what happened? Do I want to go back? Now, you know what? Do I want to go back? I'm gonna go with the other option this time. It feels like I was happy there despite everything I went through. For a moment, she felt like all her fears were unfounded. Even though if you ask me, I feel like deep down she mostly wants to go back to figure out why she is feeling the way she is. So she's like asking for like answers. They can't actually be responsible for my memory lapse, can they? Oh, yes, they can. And they certainly can't have anything to do with my dreams. Yes, they can. Anyway, I have to move on. No, you don't. Sorry. Her thoughts about the future were interrupted by a phone call. The unfamiliar number turned out to be the taxi driver's. The man apologized for the long wait and nervously asked why she needed information about the village. He asked as if she had been in touch with the police. The driver complained that he had spent too much time at the station because of her. Simona didn't know what he was getting at. She managed to get the address from him and nervously said goodbye. The driver's mood rubbed off on her. Her hands trembled. If something bad happened, something the police knew about, wouldn't Filoni have told me? No, she wouldn't have. Not with this. Simona berated herself for not reading the news sooner, all to protect her fragile mental health. I regret nothing. You asked and I complied. You be watching my reaction because you know I'm analyzing. She opened her browser application. She typed in the name of the village and her breath caught in her throat. The news was on the front page of every single news website. The headline roared across the country. The most mysterious massacre in history. David was not fucking playing. He said immediately he was on an anger trip. Goddamn. All residents of the burned down village were cruelly blinded and brutally murdered. So first Raphael blinded all of them, like literally no one in that city. No, it's too small to be a city. Everyone in that village was firstly blinded because of Raphael's blinding light, and then they were all brutally murdered by David. I am wheezing. 1,000 bodies found, thousands of residents still missing. Police have asked anyone with information about the incident to come forward. No, we're gonna protect David. Why didn't Fel tell me anything? Girl, you do not want to be in the middle of this. But now that I think about it, there would be a little bit of fear for her, because everything that we have been doing so far with the agencies actually find out, like investigate murders. We never really actively harmed anyone. So actually seeing Raphael blind them all, like an entire village, blinding them and then flying away in like with wings, like you would be feeling some type of way about this. Simona felt betrayed and deceived again, so she decided not to call Fel. Dazed, she began calling hospitals. She hoped to find Ruth's name on the list of admitted patients, but she wasn't on any of them. We locked her in, she did. The walls of her apartment began to close in. They pressed down on her. She gave into a panic and jumped to her feet. She absent-mindedly squeezed her forearm. It immediately responded with a strange pain. It was a dull and weak pain, like a healed fracture, like an old wound reminding her of its existence after some time. Did I get injured? Yes. Something terrible and unspeakably large was rising from the depths of her memory. Not images, just feelings. What did I say? Completely at the back of her head. Pain flared and faded all over her body like flashes of sunlight. And of course, because we just healed, even if it has been a few days, like our nerves have been ruined, like they actually tore our arm open, slashing through veins, arteries, nerve cells. So, of course, we would be not that sensible to pain anymore. Pain flared and faded all over her body like flashes of sunlight. The pain in her right forearm spread through her left. She felt as if the skin on her face was stretching and cracking. Am I losing my mind? Nah, this is when you slowly start to reconnect with those memories that you desperately try to ignore. Let's just say it like this. Pain with no apparent source consumed her in hysteria. She wanted to rip off her skin, to run again, but this time from herself. This will never end. Simona burst out of the building. She breathed in the cold air greedily. A gentle wind brushed over her with its icy breath, as if trying to bring her back to her senses. The desert street was tactfully silent and sympathetic. Something inside her snapped. A realization spread through her body. I can't handle this alone. The first image that came to her mind was of her mother. No matter how difficult their lives were, she'd always tried to be an involvent parent to Simona, as much as her father would allow. How I wished that things had turned out differently. As if hearing her unspoken plea, the universe decided to grant her some company. A short man emerged from an alley and shuffled in her direction. Simona's entire body tensed. She stepped out of the way to let the passers-by through, but he stopped in front of her. He stared silently into her eyes and moved his hands, which were hidden in his pockets. I don't like this. Stay calm. Like, they want you to react right now. She already on edge with her mind. She needs to relax. It seemed that her mind was simply tired of being afraid. It had finally accepted the reality that Simona would never be safe. The world has turned upside down and my mind is starting to turn with it. Her voice sounded surprisingly calm and steady. What do you want?
Money, of course you do.
This isn't a cult member, a demon, or a monster. It's just a mugger. Why? Wow. Simona was almost in tears of relief. Bye. She reached for her pockets. She realized that she didn't have her wallet with her. Not only that, but she didn't even lock the door to her apartment when she left. I don't have any money on me. Her relief quickly evaporated when the man grabbed her shoulder roughly. He dragged her toward the alley. Simona squeaked in surprise. She prepared to resist as much as she could. At this point, I feel like she is so numbed down, as in her emotions are that numbed down, that she don't even feel shit.
Don't you dare scream.
There was no time for Simona to realize the gravity of the situation. The tense atmosphere was interrupted by a soft, worried voice. They all knew where she was. That's why they left her be. Honestly, I'm living.
Got away from her.
Ooh. The hapless robber proved to be surprisingly wise. He didn't need to be told twice. Simona didn't even bother to look where he was going. All her attention was focused on CASSIEL, who had appeared out of nowhere.
Let's go inside. We need to talk.
Oh my god, CASSIEL is not fucking playing. He is not having it. Simona looked at the man sitting in the chair as if he were a ghost. She fought the urge to make sure he was real. She wanted to poke him with a finger, but he probably wouldn't appreciate that. I don't appreciate someone just showing up in the middle of the night, so I guess we're even.
You're about to burn a hole in me with that stare of yours.
How did you end up here? Were you following me?
I was watching over you.
He was looking out for you. Simona didn't know how to react to this information, so she asked a less important question. Why you of all people?
Not just me, all of us. We take turns watching over you.
Sorry, I think it's so cute. They care so much, all of them in their own way. They felt the need to make sure to let her go so that she knows that she's not a prisoner of theirs, but they felt the need to watch over her to make sure that she's all right, that she's slowly healing from everything, and when she would feel ready to listen and to hear their side of things, then they would be willing to accept her, you know? CASSIEL interlocked his fingers and began to look around her apartment.
Nice old place.
Simona didn't go along with his attempt to change the subject. She continued her interrogation. What do you mean watching over? Is that even legal? It's not like they be stalking you. They just wanted to make sure you're okay. I think it's cute. Again, if it would be a complete stranger, it would be a completely different story. But since we already created like a relationship with them, I don't think it's creepy anymore. I think it's something cute. Because they're looking out because they care. You don't know what a creeper or a stalker has in mind.
Did you really think we would just leave you alone after everything that had happened? Yes, Mikael made it clear that everyone that your nerves were afraid and you needed to calm down. But the cultists are not going to give you a break.
They did. Calm down. Do you think I'm overreacting or something?
I really hope not. I'm not good at calming people down when they're being irrational.
Bye. Cassiel didn't let her pursue the topic any further. I was so weak, y'all. Instead, he said in a much softer tone,
It's a shame that you're having this conversation with me and not someone else. Michael would have handled this much better, but since I'm here...
Cassiel stumbled over his words, and he finally squeezed them out scornfully.
Come back.
Oh, he wants us to come back. Y'all, I'm sorry, I'm soft for them all. Give me a break. I care, okay? I care about people. And it's cute to know that your presence is appreciated by the people around you, even though you fight all the time, but they appreciate you as a person. And even though they don't always agree with your methods or with your opinion, they remain by your side no matter what. Her heart skipped a treacherous beat. Simona barely held back the urge to agree, but she shook her head. I can't. I'm losing my mind in that house. And you're not losing your mind here too?
Well, maybe I can answer the questions that have been troubling you.
I can try. Ask about the village. Have you heard about the village that was burned down? You must have.
Yes.
I was there, but I don't remember what happened to me. How did I get home? Where is the route?
Raphael saved you from the fire. I don't know where your friend is. What you so likely shocked you and your brain decided to protect you.
Yes.
With the doctor, not me. Surely there's a scientific explanation for this.
Yep, no need to get deeper into this. What was Raphael doing there? Raphael sighed heavily and brushed off her question.
Maybe you should ask him yourself.
Fine. Ask about the cold. I haven't encountered any cold followers since I left. Yes, they often appear in my dreams, but no one knocks on my door.
Do you think we made it all up? Some drunk nearly killed you, and you still doubt the reality of the danger.
But he clearly wasn't a follower of the beast. How do you know?
Simona, maybe you didn't hear me, but we're watching over you.
Yes, they are the reason that you didn't bump into followers.
If we really decide to leave you alone, you'll definitely run into your old acquaintances.
Period. Let her bitch ass know. She really that stupid. But honestly, I actually thought that every member of the cultists was in that village. And since they have been first off blinded and then brutally massacred, I didn't think it would be such a problem anymore. But apparently there are many people that are following the beast. So, alright. I wouldn't want that. Tell him about my fears. Honestly, I left because I was scared.
Of us?
Yes. Simona saw no point in lying. She decided to lay all her cards on the table. Honestly, she needs to actually clarify this. Is this just because of the hallucination she had, because of that voice in her mind? You've been haunting my dreams. At night, I see a bloody river. I hear a voice that says it's your doing. I dream about the followers of the beast.
A bloody river?
A river and the sky, all in blood, and you were all there in strange forms. That night, these seemed to be your true faces. I know it sounds strange, but I couldn't stay near you that morning. Cassiel seemed to understand. He nodded slowly and offered a solution.
We'll help you remember everything that happened, little by little, all right?
Oh, Cassiel, did we see his sad face? All right. So when I realized that Cassiel was waiting for her response, she tried to buy some more time. Maybe I can talk to him some more. Talk. Oh, not that motion. Bye. I really have a lot of questions. Do you? No, they be knowing what they doing. Ask how everyone else is doing. I loved the animation. How are the others doing? After some thought, Cassiel replied reluctantly. Honestly, that's like what I want to hear the most right now.
Raphael has become even more withdrawn.
Of course, like we actually made out with him and then we felt so scared of him. Goddamn. God forbid.
David is always off somewhere.
He can't stay at one place because we're no longer there.
Michael's trying to sort some things out.
His own feelings for us, alright. Goodness, it sounds quite gloomy over there. Cassiel smiled and tried to defend his colleagues.
It always like this before you.
Oh, we actually were their anchor. They found some kind of newfound happiness with us around. That's so sad. Sounds sad. Is that why you really want me back? Girl, I feel like I need to emphasize. It's not really you as a person. Let me say it differently. You as a person are the reason that you bring happiness into their lives. You being you having a heart of gold, you challenging them, you're allowing them to heal, and that's why they want you in their lives. Because you being the way you are capable to make them feel good about themselves. You help them heal with just being you, and that's what they love. And of course, why wouldn't I want to have a person around that is capable to make me feel good about myself? A person that helps me feel alive. Of course I would want you around, but it's not because of the positive feelings that you awake inside of me. Just those positive feelings. And me actually completely ignoring you as a person. It's because I truly care about you that your presence is capable to make me feel good about myself. That's how things work. Is that why you really want me back?
No, it's all because of your professional skills.
Just that, Simona rolled her eyes. She barely stopped herself from giving him a playful punch in the shoulder. I hope you're being serious right now.
Of course I am.
And how's Malbonte doing? Period. How's my wolf?
I pulled him a nail like you asked.
Did he like it?
No.
Simona laughed. She didn't admit the silliness of the idea. Thanks anyway.
You're welcome. We're all waiting for you at home, Simona.
Oh, home. Oh, Cassie really missed you. I'm such a wimp. I'm so sorry. Okay. Ask how he's doing or offer him a coffee. I'm gonna go with offer him a coffee because that's more. Bye. And he has the coffee. No, I'm sorry. You can't tell me that Cassiel isn't fine as fuck. Lie to me. For some reason, she really wanted to stay alone with Cassiel a little longer. Somehow he didn't rush her or demand a quick decision. Maybe you'd like some coffee? Cassiel nodded and tried to adopt a more relaxed posture. He fidgeted in the not-so-comfortable chair and put his hands on his knees. Then he clasped them together again. It looked awkward. They could use a massage and a vacation. As she prepared the drink, Simona felt his thoughtful gaze on her back. She tried to think of what to ask and how to start a conversation. It seemed like any slightly serious topic would put him on guard. And she didn't feel like joking anymore. But I didn't know what else to say. Simona held out the cup and sat down across from him. She left her hand on the table and softly tapped the smooth surface with her fingertips. Actually, silence isn't bad either. Very intelligent people are capable to appreciate the silence. But Cassiel suddenly broke the silence himself.
You're really scared, is all.
When I left? Cassiel slowly sipped his hot coffee before answering.
Yes, when you left. I thought I'd never see you again.
Oh. Y'all, I'm soft, okay?
And that thought hasn't left my mind since.
Oh, Cassiel. Nah, I love him. He's such a cutie pie. I wouldn't say he's like in the romantic category. For me, at least, even though he is a cutie pie, and yes, I could see him like that, but he's kind of giving me Livius vibes. And Livius is like the platonic soulmate for me, and that's exactly the vibes that CASSIEL is giving me. And right now, it's very difficult for me to actually separate between Mikael and David, if which one is like the romantic lover for me and which one is the platonic soulmate, just like CASSIEL over here. I already said that I'm gonna like spice things up by picking the options with RAPHAEL, but I'm not gonna play him, as in I'm not gonna be pursuing him because he's a cutie pie. He needs to be protected, and that means that he's family, and family is not a romantic lover. Even though, again, his personality was attractive / is attractive, with him being a musician and everything. But he's like a hopeless romantic, and I feel like I need a little tough love in my life. And when the time comes that you actually give me validation and you actually give me like the answers that I seek to know if my feelings are reciprocated or not. But if not, I'm much more of the tough love kind of girl. I provoke the shit out of you. You provoke me back. You help me get out of my comfort zone. I help you. And we help each other grow. And we help each other heal. That's the kind of love I prefer. So being all cutie and everything, it makes me feel some sort of cringe. Like, you can tell me what you feel about this, or how you would prefer your lover to be like. But being too romantic, I feel like it's cringe. It would make me feel so much cringe. It would make me feel so awkward. And I help feeling awkward because I automatically connect that with hopeless / helplessness. So I wouldn't want that as a lover. So he's like the platonic soulmate for me. So when I wanted to remind him that they had her phone number and apparently her address, but she remained silent, it seemed like CASSIEL wasn't talking about that at all. It's not so easy to get rid of.
I wish I could believe that.
Simona was unsure how to respond. She looked into his melancholic eyes. Look what you did to him. You turned him into RAPHAEL too. She tried to understand what he meant. You can't be that stupid. You studied psychology.
It's only stronger than I thought. But somehow, knowing that makes me want to protect you even more.
I love this. I love this. Why do I love this? Because he's like, you are strong AF, but you shouldn't have to be strong all the time. And I prefer that your fighting spirit comes from your own, not because a situation forces it out of you. I love that you're a fighting spirit. You know, I never had siblings. Sometimes you annoy me so much that I can't help but be glad that I was an only child, but sometimes I think it wouldn't be so bad to have someone who cares about you.
Well, congratulations, you've achieved that.
We literally just put him into the bro zone. You guys realize that though, right? He is platonic soulmate. Let's go.
I actually get sick of your antics sometimes. I've never dreamed of having a little brothers or sisters, and for good reason.
Simona smiled and remarked, yes, this role suits you. Being the big brother, the protector, an older sibling never admits their feelings, period. But deep down I can see that you're thrilled. CASSIEL rolled his eyes and leaned back, cup in hand.
I just need to take care of your upbringing, that's all.
Oh, I'd love to see him try. After the silly banter, the silence became much more comfortable. CASSIEL finished his coffee leisurely in the cozy stillness. Despite her protests, he washed a cup of himself.
Thank you, Simona.
CASSIEL really missed you. I missed him too. He's a cutie pie. Agree. Simona realized that she probably wouldn't get answers to her questions on her own, so she gave in. I think a conversation with Mikael wouldn't hurt. Besides, it wasn't just her mind that was drawn to the walls of Astrea, it was her heart too. Yeah, we want to go back. How did this happen?
Then let's go.
This time Simona decided not to bring her back. First, I'll see how I feel when I cross the threshold of Astrea, then I'll decide what to do. God damn, she's such a drama queen. Simona looked at the gloomy mansion. She hesitated, just like the first day. She barely forced herself to take a step. I'll figure it out. I'll find out what's real in my dreams and what's fantasy. They did not have to be like this. Like, I just used an example in here when I said that she is actually mixing up reality from fiction, or more like her reality from dreams. I'll talk to Raphael. She swallowed her fear and tried to calm her pounding heart. At least I'll try to talk to him. Simona wrestled her growing anxiety and kept her head down. She didn't want to look up and meet the eyes of any of the residents. How will Mikael greet me? And David? Cassiel suddenly stopped in front of Simona and she almost bumped into him. She exclaimed in annoyance. Why did you stop so suddenly? Cassiel didn't take his eyes off the windows of the house. He frowned even more than usual. Our superiors are here. And he seems petrified because of that. And the demons are here. And that's very bad, Simona. Yeah, because what Cassiel did, kind of, not just why did I want to say Cassiel? Not just what David did, but also what Raphael did. He blinded them all. And David went in there on a killing spree and killed them all. Like, it's all over the news. Of course, it would attract attention, and not the positive kind. Yeah, I could have just waited a few seconds. No matter. Like, it would make sense that it would attract bad attention, especially if they're all supposed to remain as human as they can. And them actually attracting so much attention that it even is on every single news platform, then of course that their superiors would have something about that. But we will see what next episode will be like. I hope you enjoyed this video with me. Tell me in the comments below what you think was best, and I will see you in another video. Bye.